welcome to TMZ Live. We are going to talk about a lot involving the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping, beginning with new video. We are also going to tell you about video that we showed you yesterday and where authorities are on that. And then we're going to tell you about the ransom letter, because there is something you need to know if you're following this case. And there are unanswered questions that we want to get into here, puzzling things. Let's start with a new video.
Yes, with the new video of a very, let's just say, guy who's moving around kind of creepily.
Skulking.
A week before, skulking is a good word. A week before Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. This is at a home about 6.5 miles away from Nancy's. And what's interesting is not only the fact that at 5 a.m., this person is clearly trying to conceal themselves from the camera, but this person also happens to have facial hair that, remember the video that the FBI released of the person at Nancy's door the night she was taken. That person also seems to have facial hair, like a goatee or a beard.
And a mustache.
Right.
And this person has a mustache and a goatee as well.
Right.
So I know, look, we want to say very quickly, we are not saying this is one and the same, but we can tell you this. We have contacted law enforcement, and the word we got back was absolutely. They are absolutely looking at this video. So this is one of a number of leads that they're looking at. But again, this was 8 days before this guy skulking around. Now, I think it's worth taking a beat for a second and saying that it's one thing if Nancy Guthrie is targeted. Because if she was targeted because of her famous daughter, then the person is probably not going to be somebody who's at other houses, days or weeks before.
Right.
So then the question becomes, are they looking at a targeted kidnapping, or could this be
a burglary gone wrong?
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And that we don't know. I mean, the evidence we have or we've heard is that they think it was targeted, but the things they're looking at seem to go beyond that.
That they are certainly seem open to the possibility that it was not targeted, and that's part of the reason why they have canvassed the neighborhood the way they are, and in fact now want all the neighbors within a 2-mile radius to look at a month's worth of video. Anything that happened that they, as they describe it, suspicious activity in the month of January.
It reinforces what we started telling you days after the kidnapping, which is this person is from the Tucson area.
Yeah.
So yesterday we showed you another video that authorities were looking at. This is somebody who was 5 miles away from Nancy's house 19 minutes before the images on that ring, on the camera at Nancy's door.
Right.
So
holding a backpack that looks very similar to the one that was on the back of the man who showed up at Nancy's door.
Now, there is a network that has come out and said that they have 2 sources that say this person has been cleared. So look, we don't know one way or the other, except to say that I called one of the people involved in the investigation late afternoon yesterday and said that this is absolutely in place still. They haven't determined one way or the other.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the ransom note. The first deadline was $4 million. That deadline passed. It went up to $6 million, and now that deadline has passed. So we are now approaching 2 weeks into this kidnapping. And we can tell you this, we have been able to monitor the Bitcoin address, and the ransom has not been paid. There is the $6 million on the line, nowhere near that amount is in there. There was activity, we're not going to talk about exactly how much, but nothing near that, and it hasn't been paid. So, it's fair to ask, is this ransom note legit? Is this something that was written by somebody who has no connection and is just doing a money grab? No. We can tell you with certainty that authorities are keenly interested in who wrote this ransom note. And the second one as well, and it's the same person.
Right.
But they want to know badly who this person is.
So they are very interested in that note. They are certainly taking it very seriously. The part that is confusing that we're trying to, make sense of is the fact that they haven't paid that ransom, and we are now 5 days past the last deadline.
And not just that they haven't paid the ransom, but Stefon Guthrie said a week ago that they were going to pay the ransom. And so we can't make sense of that. So, I mean, we're going to tell you what we know, and if we have an opinion, we'll tell you it's an opinion. Here, we're puzzled. I mean, we've been talking about this for days.
It doesn't add up, and it seemed like something they would have done days ago, especially after the video with Savannah and her siblings saying, "We understand you're serious and we will pay." And we had a conversation the day that video came out, and I said, all right, well, now the clock is running. Let's see, figuring that they had paid at that point, let's see if they actually return Nancy.
As we talk today, Friday, as we talk today, this ransom has not been paid. And so
not through the Bitcoin account. And there's no other way they could possibly pay it. The FBI has said there's no other communication that has been going on with.
There's one.
With the kidnapper.
There's one. There was a second ransom letter sent to a Tucson station.
A week ago.
A week ago. We have confirmed that second ransom letter did not contain a Bitcoin address. So the only Bitcoin address that's been sent out is the one that we received. Right. And we're checking this. Alexa, when's the last time you checked it? Seconds ago. And it's not there. So that brings us now to this person who has emailed us twice in 2 days this week saying they know who the kidnapper is, and they will tell if they get one Bitcoin. A Bitcoin is worth around $67,000 right now. And they say they know who the kidnapper is. They sent us an email, a second email saying this is going to be the last time I try.
And we have not heard from them, so maybe they are standing on that was going to be the last time we hear from them. What's interesting about their request for one Bitcoin, it's kind of outdated now because the reward has gone up to $100,000.
The reason it's not out...
if they want the anonymity...
There's another reason.
Bitcoin is still...
It's bird in the hand. That there have been cases where a reward is offered, and I think Maduro, and they don't pay for various reasons. They say this tip wasn't legit, or there was another tip before. And
there's haggling that goes on.
That's right.
And if you want to avoid that, you just take the lower amount in the Bitcoin.
And it wasn't the lower amount when the person sent us the email.
Right.
But, so you would think, okay, well, this person is full of it. But we know authorities are interested in that one, too. And what puzzles both of us, and I still can't figure it out, and, this may sound kind of crude, but $67,000, you would think they'd roll the dice.
It's not, right. It's not that much to potentially get to solve the crime in the course of the FBI's budget.
Yeah, and so we don't know why, they are definitely taking them seriously, especially the ransom note. And you heard Savannah say a week ago they were ready to pay. There's some reason, and I'm not suggesting they've done anything wrong because I don't believe that. I think there's some reason that we just can't figure out why it is that they seemed on the precipice of paying the money, and then all of a sudden it just didn't happen. And the authorities absolutely are still in overdrive trying to find out who wrote that ransom note. So to be continued.
Hi, Tiffany Blackdale from LA. I don't think those camera footage guys had anything to do with her abduction. Their gait is different. Their clothing is different. They look like people who are opportunists, maybe intoxicated, maybe unhoused. The guy in Nancy's video is there for a reason. He is not stumbling upon a residence. He's there for a reason, and he didn't leave until he got what he wanted. Very different.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that guy at the door was clearly armed. Neither of the other two are clearly armed.
It goes back to the notion, was this a burglary gone bad, or was this a targeted kidnapping?
Right.
And I think what you're saying, it was targeted.
Coming up.
The latest showdown between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni in court revealed something very interesting about Blake Lively. There was a delivery made to the court, a delivery of a mahjong board.
What if they literally said, look, we are just going to settle this with a mahjong game?
Be right back.
The latest showdown between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni in court revealed something very interesting about Blake Lively that I honestly find kind of shocking. And which is hard to say in this case where we've seen so many shocking
I think
things.
I know why you're shocked, and I was shocked too, but I learned something today that
really?
unshocked me.
So there was a delivery made to the court. I don't even know how to make sense of this. A delivery of a mahjong board
To Blake Lively.
to Blake Lively. Now,
Now,
was
what,
she
now
just
tell me
looking-
your confusion
So
first.
here's the thing. What my assumption is, this was just brought there to kill time, right? Because when, especially in this particular case, there would be could be a lot of downtime during the day, where she's not sitting in court,
as there always is. Okay, so what's your
so
confusion?
she just wants to pass time. Mahjong, I've always thought of as a game that
can we just get
older?
Can we just
retired
old ladies
in a retirement community would
ladies
gather to? That's how they pass their time.
Old ladies.
Who's playing mahjong in court with Blake Lively?
It's a thing now.
Mahjong,
it is a thing with millennials. Yes.
Mahjong is trendy now,
Yes.
especially among the mom set, and she is of that age bracket. And Mahjong is now a very popular game. It is the game with tiles. It's an old Chinese game. Typically, it's played with 4 people. That's a standard Mahjong game. So
she's
a
got
bailiff, a clerk,
there you go.
and Justin
one of your
Baldoni.
lawyers, and Baldoni. They can really hash it out.
Tell you what, Baldoni, we'll settle this thing if.
This is what we said in our morning meeting today. Neither of them wants to go to trial. Neither of them wants. I mean, they say they do, but they're going to be cross-examined. They're going to be grilled like cheeseburgers. It's not going to be good for their careers, for either of them. It's going to be awful for them if they go to trial. So who's going to blink? What if they literally said, look, we are just going to settle this with a mahjong game, and then whoever loses can say, I lost a game.
I don't think Justin knows how to play, and she's a near expert.
So he loses
she's taught
to
all
her.
her friends. She
so
gives
he
them sets.
loses to her, and then the case goes away. But they've got to find an off-ramp in this case because
May is coming.
It's going to be a disaster for them.
Yeah, I actually think she's signaling that she doesn't want to settle, and she's like, "This is a waste of all our time. Let's get to May, and we're not. I'm bringing mahjong because this is a waste of time."
Because I don't care about what's happening.
We're
I'm
moving
just gonna
forward.
Waste. Yeah. Wow.
Well, but
I did not know.
I like your let's settle it with mahjong, but I think she's more just throwing a back of her hand.
But that's the way these cases go because there's a mandatory settlement conference, and they always have these, and judges are required to have them, and it is to avoid trials because there's such a backlog.
It
So
really is her signaling. I don't care about this.
It never works.
Hearing. We're not settling, so I'm just going to bring my mahjong to court.
But you don't necessarily want to. You don't want to necessarily wave a red flag in front of the judge saying you're so unimportant. I'm going to play a game.
I agree.
So these things matter. Judges are human beings, and they are impacted by that.
Absolutely.
As I always say.
Oh, you got it. You got to go for it.
Oh my God! As I
an
amorphous.
An amorphous dummy, unspotted by human emotion, is an unbecoming receptacle for judicial power.
Well done.
The fact that we are remembering your phrases.
The only speech you do
better
better
than
is
you are
Julius
now.
Caesar. Very well done.
Hey guys, I'm Olivia. I'm from Vegas. Listen, we all know Blake has main character energy. I think she's just sending a message to everybody that she's truly unbothered by this. I was a former police officer. I know how boring those courtrooms can be. So while we're scrolling on our phones, she's playing board games.
Yeah, she is. You're right.
So mom groups play mahjong, huh?
Ashley Tisdale. Oh, that's the way they can settle that.
Well, Stefon Diggs had one battle that he's gotten past. That's the Super Bowl. We know how that turned out. Now turns to his legal battle with his former chef. This is the chef who claims that he assaulted her during a dispute about money. And Stefon was in court today where he pled not guilty, as we expected. The chef had some things to say as well, because there has been some talk that perhaps she would be looking to settle this, and she says absolutely not. She said, I have never sought money nor engaged in settlement discussions to settle this matter. Statements suggesting otherwise are harmful and untrue. I did not seek public attention and reported this matter through the proper legal channels.
So he has said, through various means, that she was demanding money.
Right.
She is squarely denying
saying
that.
no. We actually spoke with her outside or separate of this statement, and we asked her if she was looking into filing a civil lawsuit. She says no, she has no plans. So, I mean, by all available evidence, it doesn't look like she's seeking a payday here.
So I don't want to split hairs here, but this has to do with during the season, she was his chef.
Yeah.
And there was a week where he said he didn't need her, and she said, look, you agreed to pay me all through the season, and they had a dispute over this, and it came to a head, you know, when this allegedly happened.
Yeah.
So when she says settlement, the way I remember it is he approached her and said, how can we settle this? And so maybe even if he approached her, that doesn't mean she's in settlement discussions.
Right.
Depending on what she said.
Right. You think she could be kind of like playing with the wording here?
Well, only because, you know, it could be, yeah, pay me for that week, or
or
and
then
pay
maybe
me.
I stop
they're
cooperating
really
with
talking
police.
about the salary, but he's viewing it as settlement. She's viewing it as salary.
That's exactly what I mean.
Right.
So I don't know. Boy, he has had a rough.
He might have lost his girlfriend in Cardi B.
Lost the Super Bowl.
Right, lost the Super Bowl. And now, I mean, this is a felony strangulation charge. I mean, you're talking about potentially years in prison if convicted.
No offense to Cardi B, but this one is more serious than
I agree,
that.
Charles.
And more than the Super Bowl, really.
Too.
No, fans don't want to hear that.
No,
yes.
but yeah, potentially years in prison.
Hi, I'm Portia DeShannon from Atlanta, Georgia. Listen, which one does Stefon Diggs have more of, cases or baby mamas? I can't seem to keep track, okay?
It's actually baby mom. He's only got one case.
But listen, I definitely believe this woman. She went the right route and she filed charges and not a lawsuit. So I think what she's saying, I believe her.
Well, too early to know. I mean, everybody says that before we hear any of the evidence. I'm not saying she's right or wrong, but people jump to conclusions too quickly in these cases. They just do.
Coming up.
So we told you that Jill Zarin is no longer going to be part of the sort of reboot of Real Housewives of New York called The Golden Life. It's not on Bravo, it's on E! Now. Jill Zarin trashed Bad Bunny, said that it was racist, the halftime show.
Not enough white people.
Right. So the reaction everybody wants to hear from, of course, is Andy Cohen.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
BB Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at. So we told you that Jill Zarin is no longer going to be part of the sort of reboot of Real Housewives of New York called The Golden Life. It's not on Bravo, it's on E! Now.
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't she the one that said bad things about the Bad Bunny Super Bowl?
The one? It was 2 days ago. You don't act like you...
Well, no, I forgot. I mean, a lot's going on. Okay, now I remember.
Yes, Jill Zarin trashed Bad Bunny, said that it was racist, the halftime show.
Not enough white people.
Right. So she got booted from The Golden Life. So the reaction everybody wants to hear from, of course, is Andy Cohen. Because, you know, the king of all things housewives.
That's right.
How does he feel? Is he going to gloat a little bit because it's not, this new show is not his. Golden Life has nothing to do with him. So is he going to kind of gloat about her getting booted from Golden Life?
My vote, I haven't seen this, my vote is yes.
It's not so much her getting fired. Well, yes. He is gloating. He is gloating. But it has more to do with someone else's reaction. There was you're going to find out why. There is a fabric company that is actually reacting to Jill getting fired. And that's what Andy finds hilarious.
But the thing still will never get over the sight of the Zarin Fabrics Instagram account.
That big ol' X.
By the way, I heard from her a few weeks ago about a reunion set that she said had terrible rugs. And she was like, you should get some rugs at Zarin Fabric. I mean, When I saw the Zarin fabric post, I was like, oh my God, the walls are crumbling.
Okay.
I couldn't believe it.
Okay, that's not reveling in it.
Okay,
Oh
why?
my
What I can't figure
God.
out. Someone explain to
Oh
me why
my
was he doing the
God.
whispers? That's something that Jill
Yeah,
does.
No,
I'm
it's
not sure.
dramatic.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
It's just like
It's total
it was-
dramatic effect.
Oh my
That was amazing.
But here's
So-
the thing, you guys. Anyone that knows Jill, obviously they think of Housewives, but the second thing they think of is Zarin Fabrics. She was like the face
we
of
do.
it for the
Yeah, of
longest
course.
time. People have like her rugs, her candles. Actually, people here have some of the products. But they came out, her stepson, David, he owns the company. And he posted on social media, basically, as you saw, saying that they haven't been affiliated with her for years. And I actually spoke to David as well, and he said that they're getting bombarded with just all these reviews, like horrible reviews. And he's like, people are still confused, but
They're
don't
still
blame
attaching
us.
Jill to, so that's why he had to put up that post going,
Yes.
we're not with her.
That's hysterical.
Wow.
And
Thanksgiving is going to get interesting.
and boy, talk about trashing the production company's rugs. Bad form. Bad
Right,
form.
exactly.
Bad form.
Hi guys, this is Jamie from New Jersey. As a longtime Housewives fan, I was completely not surprised with Jill being let go from the show due to the nature of her comments or Andy's, reaction, because he's been so active on social media lately. However, I really was surprised when I opened Instagram and saw a giant X over Jill Zarin's face. I had no idea that they were not associated with Zarin Fabrics any longer. And honestly, their social media manager made it perfectly clear this week, and he deserves a raise.
Yes, he did make it clear.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt got into a fight. We want to show you this fight out of the gate, and then we're going to tell you what's behind it. Wow. Here is the fight.
I don't know why they're so angry. The valet will bring around both of your cars, gentlemen. It'll be fine.
Well, Brad rides a Well, they both ride motorcycles.
They do ride motorcycles.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
That clearly looks like a movie scene. And it does, but it's AI. And it is stunning.
AI.
Stunning. Ruari Robertson, who was an
Robinson,
who was an Oscar-winning director, Oscar-nominated director in 2002. He did this by basically putting two lines in. This is the ByteDance TikTok.
It's a company owned by ByteDance, yeah. But literally put two lines into their AI generator.
Do this, and it did that, and it's stunning. Because it looks like them.
And people in Hollywood are losing their minds over this. Notably, the screenwriter of Deadpool, some of the Deadpool movies, just said that we're doomed. If this is what AI can do with just two lines, there's the reaction. I hate to say it, it's likely over for us.
So it's likely over for us. That was Deadpool.
Meaning
it's sort of like
Hollywood
The Last of Us.
Yeah. Meaning filmmakers, because the writing's on the wall. Who needs a director? Who needs a cast? You just say, this is what I want.
And you create star characters now. You don't have to pay them $20 million. You create star characters who do, movie after movie after movie. And this was two sentences.
What you are seeing right there is exactly why Hollywood was so up in arms, why there was a strike, that this is what they're worried about. And when you see that, it's hard to argue against it.
Here's the problem. What Hollywood is arguing is, let us keep our jobs. That's a hard argument to make in the entertainment business when it's about entertaining. And if people can get entertained that way, and you can do it for way less money and create more content, I get that it disrupts the employment situation. But
I mean, the reality is there will still be movies that, like, for action films, I get it. And you're right. For action films, the budget will go way down, and they probably will do things like that. But there are still other things that you got to have real acting happening.
Good, but not good for Hollywood.
But it's not good for Hollywood because that's less production.
And I think there's just a fundamental issue about, look, it's sad if people lose their jobs. People get retrained. I mean, this has happened for 100 years. But Is that a reason to say, let's put a wall between AI and entertainment? And I think most people are going to say no.
What you would suggest is that the studios buy into AI and that they are using AI to make the films.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
The studios can still be behind the films. They're just going to be making them a different way.
Right.
But to the cast and crew,
Or maybe
the cast and crew,
or maybe there are no studios that people can create this kind of content at home.
Well, now they're really worried.
Coming up.
We have been poring over that video that the FBI released of the man who showed up at Nancy Guthrie's door. We knew that the FBI and the Sheriff's Department would be looking at every single item that this person was wearing.
We identified the backpack early on, so now we've been looking at a couple of other things, including the jacket, and we think there's a match.
Be right back.
We have been poring over that video that the FBI released of the man who showed up at Nancy Guthrie's door. And obviously, the moment that these images came out, we knew that the FBI and the Sheriff's Department would be looking at every single item that this person was wearing.
We identified the backpack early on.
Right.
Almost immediately, actually. Our staff was able to figure out this was a Walmart backpack.
Right.
So now we've been looking at a couple of other things, including the jacket, and we think there's a match.
Yeah, and this match is really, what's really important about this match, the backpack was one thing because it was at Walmart and it's actually one of their best sellers, right?
Totally,
so that's
yeah.
a very common thing. But what we found about the jacket is a bit more exclusive.
Definitely, yeah. So it looks like it's this Aero Hex windbreaker sold at the company 2XU. You can see that has a similarity with the horizontal black stripe, a similarity in color and reflectiveness.
Look at the zipper.
The zipper.
They actually sell this this windbreaker as being reflective. They say it's reflective, and you see it's reflective on the kidnapper. Also, when you look at the video, it looks like the kidnapper has a hood on that windbreaker,
right?
And there is a hood on the Aero as well. So it looks like this is, in fact, the jacket.
Yeah.
And we have contacted authorities who are involved in this investigation. They say they are.
Yeah, that this is part of the investigation, that this jacket.
Part of the investigation, looking at this jacket.
Yep.
What's interesting is that, you know, Walmart is one thing where this backpack is sold to lots and lots of people.
Totally.
This is more uncommon.
Yeah, we did our research here, and there are 2 stores in Tucson that do sell this brand. We've contacted one who said that they don't sell it currently, they're out of stock, and then the other store has not gotten back to us, but doesn't seem as accessible.
Right, if someone's buying it in the Tucson area and there's only 2 places to choose from, that allows the authorities to narrow down
100%.
You know, trying to nail the suspect here, because as we said, once they notice, they can go back and see how many of these were sold. They can find out when. Then they go look at the cameras.
Yeah.
Definitely.
A couple of other things. I still think this holster is really going to be relevant. That the holster that this kidnapper is wearing typically doesn't hold the type of gun that he had. It usually holds a revolver, and this was a semi-automatic handgun. Also, go back to that video, because I've had more than one person talk to me about this. It is placed in a weird position where you generally don't put a gun.
Right.
And what people have been coming back to me, people who know guns, they've been saying, this is not somebody who typically handles a gun.
Definitely, yeah, and we've spoken to a lot of gun shop owners as well who said that this is also very uncomfortable. And I know a lot of people were speculating that this person had a limp or something wrong with their leg when they did bend over, but that placement could be part of that. And if this individual went to a gun range and had that in that spot, that people would certainly find that odd.
And that's where I've changed my opinion, because the first thing we did was we called gun ranges.
Yeah.
The more I'm thinking of this isn't somebody who shoots guns. I mean, when you look at the way he's holding it, this is not somebody who
practiced. The fact that he put it there.
That's
Seems
right.
like
It was clearly
intimidation.
uncomfortable moving when he bent over with it. Yeah.
So that's why we came up dry when we called all these gun ranges, because I doubt he went to one. But it's somebody who is not familiar with guns, which makes me think, when did he buy this gun?
Yeah.
You know, what gun was sold like this in the Tucson area?
And it is common, it's open carry and conceal in Tucson,
Right.
Arizona. So.
Right. But now you start thinking, if he's this unfamiliar with guns, did he buy this gun in the last couple months? And if so, where? This is not a guy who knows guns.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Breezy out of Cincinnati, and I think the jacket and the gun is what's going to give us our suspect.
In May, you know,
I'm telling you, if there's only 2 stores in the Tucson area that are selling it, that is a big help to authorities.
no, I don't know if he could have bought it online.
Could have bought it online,
But you can still trace it. You can still trace it.
Well, you have definitely heard the phrase, if you've been on social media anytime in the last few years. How's your British accent?
Oh, it's pretty good.
Awful. Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
Well, that's not
How's
bad.
that? Is that good?
Nothing.
That's not bad. Come
Nothing
on.
beats a
Certainly
Jet
better
2
than-
holiday.
Yes, you've heard that. Well, guess what? It's Jet 2. Nothing does beat a Jet 2 holiday, unless, of course, you have been banned from Jet 2 for life because you got into a massive brawl. This fight, I've never seen, we've seen a lot of crazy stuff on flights in the U.S. This one is out of control.
Oh, my God.
It seems like everyone at some point gets involved, and there are serious blows being thrown.
What is going on airplanes? I've flown for
We should
days.
say, for those who don't know, Jet 2 is
It's a budget.
It's a budget. It's
Really?
It's the UK's version.
But
What
look
does
at the
that
headlock,
mean,
though.
Harvey?
You're missing the headlock. But according to the account that posted this, apparently this started by a couple of drunk people.
Really?
Yeah.
Now there's a real shocker.
Yeah, so that's
You don't
shocking.
say.
It's also funny because the guy in the neck pillow, you can't look tough with a neck pillow.
Where did the flight take off from?
It was going to England.
It was going back to England? Took off from Turkey.
Yeah, they stopped
Turkey
in,
to England.
They had to do an
Sound like a
emergency
lot of-
landing in Belgium because of this.
Oh, my God. This is
The
nuts.
Belgian, you know, the Belgian police were like, a Jet 2? Oh, come on, man. No.
The runway's closed.
Coming up.
Congressman Jake Auchincloss. What he told us about his cell phone is very interesting, and in fact, it is something maybe you could use, and he says other members of Congress
This is really interesting.
absolutely need to use this device that he is using called the brick.
Be right back.
TMZ DC, learning more about your elected officials every day. And I have to say that today, we not only learned something about Congressman Jake Auchincloss.
Excuse me. Say Massachusetts Congressman Jake Auchincloss.
Massachusetts. He is a U.S. Congressman, Jake Auchincloss,
Easy
from Massachusetts.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, from Massachusetts. And what he told us about his cell phone is very interesting. And in fact, it is something maybe you could use. And he says other members of Congress
This is really interesting.
absolutely need to use this device that he is using called the brick.
I think politicians, like most humans, are pretty nice to one another in real life and pretty mean to each other online. For Christmas, I got a device, it bricks my phone, and I think every member of Congress should be bricking their phone 23 out of 24 hours every day. Log off, touch grass, connect with each other in real life. When you're trying to have hard conversations about policy, particularly when they're cutting across political differences, when those conversations happen online, people perform. When they happen in real life, people have a sense of curiosity about each other's positions, and that's what we need more of. Congress is like any other profession. 80% of people are mostly trying to do the right thing and are mostly just typical humans, and then 20% kind of ruin it for everyone else.
Well, here's the problem with this. If he turns his phone off, essentially, 23 out of 24 hours, people are going to be trashing him, and he's not going to be able to respond.
Right, he's not going to know. Well,
I mean,
that's why he wants everyone else to get on board.
I know.
So that they won't be on.
But the problem is who's going to be the first one? You know,
I mean, look.
The people want to be the last one to do that, not the first one.
True, but this is a good point. But I'm a little surprised by something. Obviously, it's a good point. We could all use less time online. But I really thought that people in Congress were still talking, even though I know they post things, and I always assume that it's usually their staffs they have staff members who will be posting stuff. I thought they were actually speaking to each other.
They do.
Right? They are actually making deals and everything, speaking.
I talk to some of them. They do. They talk all the time. But what he's saying is it's civilized when they do, when they talk amongst themselves.
And then it gets screwed up.
And then when they go online, they're not doing it for a relationship. They're doing it performatively for their voters.
So the bridge building that they're doing face-to-face gets screwed up because of the performances they have to put on.
But the interesting thing about that is, think about it. What he's really saying is the only way to connect with voters that people feel when they're online is to be nasty. And that's an interesting commentary on voters, that they seem to think nasty works with voters and nice doesn't.
Where did they get that idea from?
Well, it's interesting. Well, no, I'm not saying.
But my point is, it has worked, right? I mean.
But if it does, it's on the voters. It's ultimately on the voters, because if voters rejected that, then they wouldn't do it. So my point is, yeah, they're doing it, and yeah, maybe it's coming from above, but they would only do it if it's received well by voters, and they think it does.
My point is, it clearly has been received well by voters because that's how Donald Trump got elected, by just saying whatever it is he wants to say, and if it's nasty sometimes, it's nasty, and people say he's being real.
Okay, and I'm saying that voters like that, and they're getting what they like online. And that's kind of a sad commentary, but it's ultimately on us. Because if we're all looking for somebody to trash somebody else, then they're going to do it. And if we recoil from it, they're going to stop doing it. And nobody's recoiling.
Bricks for everyone in Congress, and the White House would probably be good too.
Izzy, Georgia, I'm actually personally really glad to see more politicians being more active online. It seems like we're seeing a real shift, especially with younger politicians who are making an effort to connect with their constituents via social media. And if we're being honest, I know more people, especially my age, who learn more about policy and what's going on in Congress via platforms like social media than they do traditional news outlets. And Representative Auchincloss has historically been at the forefront of bills regulating TikTok and AI usage. And I do think he's doing it with the best intention. But I think if he focused probably a little bit more on building his own social media presence rather than critiquing how others are presenting themselves online, he'd probably have a much easier time getting people to care about what he's advocating for in Congress.
That's a really interesting take. That was really smart.
Coming up,
we want to show you now a change in the dating scene, a drastic change in the dating scene thanks to technology. How would you like to go out on a date with an AI bot, an actual date?
The biggest problem I have is that you cannot have X-rated conversations, and that sucks because that's what I want.
be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. Harvey had to step away for a second, but we want to show you now a change in the dating scene, a drastic change in the dating scene thanks to technology. How would you like to go out on a date with an AI bot, an actual date, like a coffee date? They actually did this in New York, got together. I'm not sure who's behind the technology here and put this together, but they had people come in and sit down and chat over coffee or whatever they wanted, a martini in this case, and chat with a date. Did it go well? How does this, I mean, yes, it is definitely going to occupy your time, but are you going to get anything out of this? This is how some of the people experienced it.
You are just able to kind of reap the benefits of any relationship without maybe having to do any of the other steps.
For me, since I don't really talk to people that much, it keeps me like going. I mean, like as far as like talking, because I only really talk to my dog and the family.
The biggest problem I have is that you cannot have X-rated conversations, and that sucks because that's what I want. I want the X-rated conversations. I want the intellectual stimulation, that conversation too. And when I get this warning from the avatar saying, let's keep this conversation respectful, I think it's a little too sensitive in my opinion. It actually starts to piss me off.
Most people that have AI partners, you know, girlfriends or boyfriends, wives or husbands that are AI, don't really.
What do you mean most people who have like?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying most people that do.
You make it sound like that's. Are there a lot of people who have that?
Yeah, this is a very growing trend now. But the people that are dating AI people, they tend to not like to go out in public. They tend to like to stay at home and do things like on their own. So I don't know what going to a bar and to a restaurant full of other people when they don't
Right.
even like to like the
It's
whole
sort
thing
of
is
like
they don't
they're
interact with
taking-
people.
They're taking the old model of dating and trying to merge it with this
The new model,
idea,
but it makes no
and they
sense
don't
because
really...
the whole reason that I have an AI girlfriend is because I don't like to interact with
I
human
did not
beings.
realize you're talking about this like this is a common thing.
It is. The people are dating the AI computer. They're marrying them. What? Not even just they're marrying them. They're getting married.
We're cooked.
Cooked.
Hello, my name is Rhea from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Hi, Rhea.
And hello. As much as I would like to laugh at this, I'm actually really scared. This is scary. I think it's one thing if somebody can't meet people in person the old-fashioned way due to medical issues or something else, but it's still not a replacement for a real human relationship. I feel like the rise in AI dating is just proof that we have a real loneliness problem in society that nobody wants to seriously address. I feel like people are afraid of rejection. They're afraid of embarrassment, and they're afraid of making mistakes. So they want the benefits of a relationship without doing the real work. And honestly, like, imagine you're on a date with somebody or you're getting to know somebody, things are going great, and then you find out that their previous partners were all robots. They were all AI.
I think there will be signs before they actually say it to you. You'll kind of figure that out. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Spencer, Alabama, the Guthrie case. From the outside looking in, this is a sad, messy, and blatantly mishandled situation. I can only imagine if I feel that way, how their entire family feels. And hopefully this has a resolution very, very soon.
Yeah, you know, that's a good question. I don't know how the Guthrie family feels about this. We've seen the videos that they've posted, and they've been grateful, said they've been grateful to law enforcement. But you're right, the longer it goes on, that frustration, they're only human, and that frustration's got to build. One more.
You froze London, the Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt AI video. I think that Hollywood should be concerned because that video was alarmingly good. However, I don't think that Hollywood is powerless. It's so important that Hollywood stakeholders and legislators make sure that they regulate against AI infringement to protect the non-Tom Cruises of the industry.
They definitely want to do that, but sometimes it feels like the train's already coming down the tracks and they just might have to get out of the way.
Coming up.
10,000, and now there are none.
Talk about Olympic glory. The 10,000 he's referring to is the number of condoms that were distributed in the Olympic Village. That sounds like plenty, right?
Now you can't get one to save your life.
Be right back.
10,000, and now there are none.
The 10,000 he's referring to is the number of condoms that were distributed in the Olympic Village. That sounds like plenty, right?
Now you can't get one to save your life. They are gone. They are gone.
Saying they cannot get any more of the condoms. So now I'm understanding why some of these injuries are happening.
It's a thing at the Olympic Village. That sex is rampant there. This is truly proof of performance. It's amazing. I mean, it is, and people don't bring them because it's a thing.
Just to keep the numbers in line for you, 10,000 condoms.
It's 3 per person.
Only 3,000 athletes in. They are there for 2 weeks. Suddenly now the math is making sense.
I wonder if they trade. if it's like a commissary in prison.
Hey, you got cigarettes? You got cigarettes? I got 2 condoms for you.
Have a good weekend, everybody.